welcome back to my channel. It's Stacy with As the Tea Brews. Today I wanted to share a couple of things with you guys. I wanted to share some great current reads that I've really enjoyed and also one of my favorite teas. So let's make the tea and we'll talk about it. Okay, so as you just saw, the tea that I am making today is Peppermint Cream by Bird & Blend, and this is a milk oolong, and it has peppermint and cocoa shells in it. This tea, they actually recommend brewing at 80 degrees Celsius, which is 176 degrees Fahrenheit, and so you brew it at a green tea temperature, even though it's a oolong and it has peppermint in it. So my inclination would be to brew it at a oolong temperature, and I have done that, forgetting that it says 176 degrees, and it turned out just fine. So I think luckily this is one that you can't mess up too much if you forget that. So I brewed this one for 3 minutes in my David's Tea Nordic steeper. This is one from a couple Christmases ago, and I love this. It's like the Scandinavian little village, and it's a clear mug, and this is one of my favorite mugs to use once the weather gets cold and all winter long. I love this tea because, number one, there's really not very much in it. It's a pretty simple, straightforward tea, but it's just delicious. And it is this milk oolong, which normally I'm not a big fan of milk oolong. It's just too, I don't know, I just don't like it very much. I have a few milk oolongs because my mom really likes milk oolong. But this one, with the addition of the peppermint and the cocoa in it, it just makes it like this creamy, minty, delicious cup of tea. You can taste the milk oolong, but the peppermint and the cocoa really just make it so creamy and minty, and I don't really know how else to describe this tea. It's got a slight sweetness to it. There's no bitterness. It's just delicious. This is one of my favorite teas, and I highly recommend it. I like drinking this one in the afternoon when a little bit of caffeine is still okay with me. In my opinion, this does not need any sweetener at all. So if you prefer a really sweet tea, go ahead and throw in some honey or rock sugar or whatever your sweetener is of choice. I'm sure it would be delicious. I have not tried this any other way. I have not tried it iced. I have not tried it as a latte. And the main reason is that I just love it plain and simple. That's my favorite way to have this tea. So I bought a 150 gram bag from Bird & Blend, and it's such a fluffy tea that it actually didn't even quite all fit into their 150 gram tin. And I had another full David's Tea size tin of this tea in reserve. So you get a good amount for the cost of this tea. Okay, I will make sure to link this tea below in the description box, but basically it's about $10 per 50 grams. So for the 150 gram tin, I paid $30. The website describes it as a velvety milk oolong tea, smooth cocoa and sweet peppermint, and I would agree completely. It is velvety and smooth and perfect. It's perfect. I love this tea. So the other thing that I wanted to share with you guys are my current reads. And I say current, but really I just finished the third book that I want to mention last night. And these books are by Lydia Kang, and these are the first 3 books I've ever read by her. And she is a doctor, and so all 3 of these books have elements of her experience from being a doctor and being in medical school, and they take place in New York, and they are all historical. So the first one I read is Opium and Absinthe, and this one was not written before the other ones were written. I might have read these books out of order. I don't think it really affected the enjoyment of them, and as the characters don't really flow from novel to novel, but there is a common family in the novels, but they're spread out in their years so much that they actually don't really overlap. And so It was kind of interesting when I first realized, though, they were all part of the same family from different times. This one takes place in New York City in 1899. It's about when the book Dracula came out. And so there's this series of murders in the city, and people are wondering if vampires could be real. There's some historical elements of what's happening during the time and what people in the medical field and with medicines have kind of been responding to. There's some addictions, and then there's just these really interesting beliefs that among some of these people that the vampires could be real. It's almost like a whodunit book. In all three of these books, there's actually murders and crimes. It just leaves you kind of on the edge guessing which characters are involved and how. It's just really fascinating to go on these journeys with these characters. I really enjoyed these books. Now, I will tell you, I actually listened to all three of these books. I did not read them. I listened to them on Kindle audio. So I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, and so I have a friend in Texas, hi Misty, who we have this little personal book club, and so we just choose the same books and we listen to them while we're doing our chores or walking the dogs, and then we check in on Marco Polo with each other about the characters and what we think is going on and what we think about the books, and just it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy listening to the books this way. I was never a big audiobook person before. With this Kindle Unlimited, we just choose books that are included in the price, and I think it's like $10.99 a month. And so we go through a few books a month, which makes it a lot cheaper than Audible. We just pick books that are included and that also have audio. Not all of the books on Kindle Unlimited have an audio. There are a lot that do, and it kind of gives my mind something to do while I'm just doing menial tasks like the dishes and stuff. So that was the first one that I read, and I really enjoyed that one enough that we picked another one of her books that's included in Kindle Unlimited, and it's called A Beautiful Poison. And this was a good book too, but I didn't like it as much as the first one. But it's the same idea with the historical fiction and what's going on in the medical community and with the different medicines that people are taking at the time. And this one is when the Spanish influenza actually rips through New York City. I want to say it's around 1920. 1918. And then the last one by her that I read from Kindle Unlimited is called The Impossible Girl. And The Impossible Girl was actually my favorite out of these three books. I really enjoyed this book. It's about a girl born with two hearts, and it's her life hiding from the medical community because she is so afraid that they are going to want to put her on display. And this is during the time of grave robbers. And so she actually becomes a grave robber to avoid being caught or killed and then robbed from the grave. I'm just full of mystery and intrigue with the different medicines and the medical stuff going on at the time. These were a lot of fun to read, and I really enjoyed these books. Now, they are adult books. I did discover that she has 2 books written for young adults. There is a few elements that would not be appropriate for young adults, in my opinion. I would not recommend them as young adult books. As an adult, I really enjoyed these books, and so I highly recommend them. Those are some new books that maybe you might seek out if you are interested in that type of book. And I hope that you give this Peppermint Cream a try by Bird & Blend, because this is really a delicious tea. I love it. It's one of my favorites. And I think that that's it for today. If you have any comments or suggestions on videos or tea reviews, let me know in the comments below. This is a tea that somebody recommended that I do a tea review for, so I hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you next time. Bye!